My name is Carlos Abelardo Sarria. My undergraduate degree was not in education, but in psychology and visual arts. My interest in special education began after taking a surveys of education course, which described the various ways of teaching children with intellectual disabilities. This course had a profound effect on me, making me want to change my graduate program from school psychology to special education. I have always had a passion for helping others, especially those who find themselves on the margins of society. Some of the main themes we learned in this course revolved around the educational enterprise in the United States, how interdisciplinarity works, social justice in education, about various learning theories, and the need to modify our curriculum to meet the needs of diverse learners. The United States has been a leader in pioneering education for all, and historically has been a source of innovation in educational research, especially in areas of child growth and learning development. All children in this country have a right to free, quality education spanning from kindergarten all the way towards the 12th grade. Education is about teaching students the knowledge and skills necessary to become productive members of society, which requires that we create various networks of connections, more commonly known as interdisciplinarity. Teachers must help their students to see these connections by preparing curriculum that reflects this concept, both in understanding and delivery. Furthermore, these connections are manifested in the convergence of diverse connections such as language, culture, religion, just to name a few, that are the pillars to this kind of learning. Each child is unique, each with his or her abilities and needs, and it is the responsibility of educators to meet these abilities and needs on an individual basis. Learning theories are vital components to meeting these demanding criteria, but in recent times, their development has deepened. I believe that applying these theories will lay the groundwork for greater progress in teaching intellectually disabled children in years to come. Unfortunately, this view is not espoused by many teachers because it is precisely these challenges that both teachers and students need in order to thrive in the classroom. For the second part of this video, we were required to describe and explain, critically reflect, and provide evidence for the four main course objectives in this course. The historical development of education in this country reflects the socio-political nature of education across the spectrum of learning, educational standards, and the delivery of instruction. The sociopolitics of education are often governed by outside forces that determine financial resources and ultimately the creation and development of educational standards. In lieu of such management, it would be ideal if a commission that reflected the diversity of our nation were to establish, review, recommend, and implement the necessary changes to the existing educational enterprise. I have seen the role of sociopolitical political forces in various topics learned in this course. As a result, I see with greater clarity the needs to preserve and improve public schools without, without which marginalized citizens are not able to receive the education they have a right to as guaranteed by our government. Interdisciplinarity consists of the application of knowledge to real-life experiences, which are as varied as there are interpretations of events perspectives, and other contexts. I feel that all education should be taught with an interdisciplinary perspective so that both teachers and students have the opportunity to experience and integrate it in the classroom, and thereby helping students to create the necessary intellectual habits to succeed in whatever field they choose to enter. Colleges and universities ought to provide ample experiences in this regard. In a prospectus that was required for another course, I was able to integrate psychology, education, and law in an attempt to challenge mainstream schools to determine whether or not they were addressing the needs of students with intellectual disabilities as mandated by a recent Supreme Court case, Andrew F. versus Douglas County School District. Behaviorism, cognitivism, and social reconstructivism, and other learning theories are the essential foundation that all teachers ought to build upon if they wish to help students not only learn the material, but also know how to learn. Learning refers to applying oneself to an academic discipline, as well as obtaining the necessary technical knowledge and skills in order to perform in some manner to become a productive member of society and in a particular field. Thus, curriculum developers and teachers must determine if their students are able to learn certain disciplines through memorization and interpretation or through inquiry and investigation. Students ought always, in some way, be taught to seek out answers. In this regard, teaching diversity while honoring social justice and intercultural relationships is paramount. However, many problems arise because teachers and professors not only lack knowledge and skills, but are also unfamiliar with inquiry and reasoning. Furthermore, many justly complain that they were never taught such skills during their time in university. Consequently, they had difficulties integrating such matters into the classroom of their own students. Learning theories provide a foundation for integrating interdisciplinarity in the classroom. The following examples illustrate some of the theories we learned in class. Behaviorism can be seen in courses that help children with autism to manage their behaviors. Cognitivism can be seen in the development of curriculum theory. And lastly, the preparation of a person to obtain licensure, for instance as a behavioral analyst, would be based on social constructivism. The needs of diverse learners are varied, stemming from different cultural backgrounds, languages, learning styles, interests, and cognitive talents and competencies. The impact of diverse learning populations on teaching in the 21st century has created new challenges in schools. Teachers must realize that a one-size-fits-all approach is not acceptable, and that they must be sensitive to the unique needs of diverse learners and respond appropriately. Students from all backgrounds need teachers who provide them the support and high expectations they need in order to succeed in school. Differentiation of instruction appears to provide a plausible solution to these prevailing issues. Research is still in its infancy in these areas, as with those of other learning theories. But here we know that we can best meet the needs of diverse students. While schools have signs all over their campuses that state their commitment to provide a quality education for all students, when one looks at what is happening inside a classroom, it seems that these needs are not being met. In reality, schools have been operating under the appearance that all learners learn the same way. But the truth is as mentioned previously, every child is unique. Although I am only an aspiring teacher, I strive to set a good example for my younger siblings of what a good, productive student looks like and all the skills that it entails. Looking towards the future, I have a plan of action, and it will comprise of three parts: how the theme will be applied in my personal practice, how it will be addressed in future academic work, and how it will be addressed in future professional work. I seek to further understand the historical background of education to better understand the various philosophies and teaching methods and their impact on student growth, which align with interdisciplinary and social justice perspectives. Furthermore, upon these foundations, I would like to incorporate various learning theories where they might seem fit in order to ensure that every child receives an equal opportunity to learn in the classroom. Second, areas of research that would be of interest in my future academic work would be to address the needs to integrate interdisciplinarity into curriculum for children with intellectual disabilities. This dilemma calls for the need to define what equity means for this population of students. Furthermore, how can social constructivism be applied to these students, if at all? Other questions include: how does differentiation of instruction occur with autistic children? How do today's learners see the role of school and the teacher in today's dysfunctional system of education? And how can teachers make their roles more like that of a facilitator of knowledge, both in consumption as in practice? And finally, I plan to become more acquainted with curriculum writers to promote the wider use of interdisciplinary approaches so as to attain the necessary knowledge to be an effective teacher for all my students. Equity is a still challenging concept in many schools today, but it remains an obligation on my part to ensure that all students have an equal opportunity to learn in the classroom. I am very much interested in joining faculty members who are conducting research on learning theories, specifically theories that address learning of autistic children and other children with intellectual disabilities. And finally, I hope to work with other teachers to promote greater use of student feedback in the shaping of curriculum and the adaptation of teaching strategies so that future students are better served in the field of education.